everyone, I'm Samantha, Fights to Prevail on Instagram. I just wanted to kind of give a little background as to who I am, how I got here, what I'm doing now. So I don't know, let's get started. So when I was younger, I was extremely overweight for a long time. I was probably about 100 pounds when I was 10. That all changed when I was 18. I was 275 pounds. And basically, I started doing drugs, a lot of drugs. Pretty much you name it, coke, LSD, anything. Like anything I could get my hands on, that's what I was doing. I was so uncomfortable with who I was. I was so uncomfortable with where I was in life. And 18 is a confusing year. You know, I started college. I failed out my first year. I was away. It was probably the worst thing for me. I was partying every day. I didn't go to class. I finished with like a 1.0. So after that, I lost about 100 pounds in about a year, I would say. I wasn't really concentrating on losing weight. It was just kind of happening. I mean, I was out all the time, so I wasn't really eating, and I was just kind of doing a lot of drugs. So I wasn't really, worried about anything at that point, and the weight just kind of fell off. So I'm 26 now, and I maintain that weight, up and down, give or take about my lowest was 140. So I was kind of yo-yoing between when I was about 21 was the first time I went to rehab. And there I gained, after that, which was a month, I gained about 15 pounds there, and then continued to put on maybe about 10 more pounds. And then I started doing drugs again. My main drug was PCP. So I was smoking angel dust. When I did that, all I would do is walk. Probably about 10 to 15 miles a day, like just because I was high and I just kept walking. So, that kind of continued for a while. I was in an abusive relationship, so that didn't really do much for my self-esteem. That, obviously it wasn't up to par to begin with, so that just kind of fed into it and helped me continue on this destructive path that I was on. So let's fast forward to 3 years ago. 3 years ago was my third time in rehab, and this was after 2 DWIs on probation. I really just needed to start making some changes. So when I went there, I already had this education as to what I was doing, why I was doing it, and why wasn't really the question for me anymore. It more came down to, what can I do now? So I basically dropped everybody that I ever hung out with. And at that point, it wasn't much. It was just people I was getting high with. So at that point, I had my boyfriend who pretty much has stuck with me through all of this. And, it was hard for him, and it was hard for me to kind of be with somebody who was so stable and understanding. And, I think that was part of the reason that helped me continue, because it really did come from within. I know that sounds so corny, but it really did come from, I needed to do something. I'm smart, I'm, attractive, I have a really good work ethic, and I really wanted to stay dedicated. Not to mention I was on probation, and I was way more scared of jail than I was dying from some kind of drug. So, I've been clean for 3 years. And in that time, I am at now 200. I went back up to about 250, and I lost 50 pounds. Because when I stopped, I was probably my lowest was about 140, and that's probably where I was about 3 years ago. And from there, I gained about 100 pounds in about a year and a half. It didn't take long to do. It was super unhealthy. I was so used to I was only eating once a day, and if I did eat, it was McDonald's or something, or anything that I could shove in my mouth, basically, at that point. Okay, so from there, I went back to school. I'm getting my master's degree in forensic psychology. I'm really excited about it. I am a drug and alcohol counselor at a rehab in New Jersey for juveniles. So I love what I do. And, I really just started to make changes. I would say about 3 months ago is when I really started, like, buckling down. Like, I changed my diet completely. I wasn't going to the gym at all. I just started going to the gym in January? I want to say around January, like, 4th, because I didn't want to be one of those people who rushed into the gym on January 1st. I was more concerned. I still have, like, really I feel like, like, I feel weird when people look at me. I don't know. It's all this stuff combined. Like, I have self-esteem, but I'm not quite where I used to be when I was thin. And I know that shouldn't really dictate where I feel about myself, but, I'm still kind of working through those kinds of things. So, I started Gracie's Journeys Diet Bet on January 20th, and since then I have lost 10 pounds. Today is the 10th, I believe. I started doing a 30 and 30 gym challenge day. I try to hit 500 calories each time I go. I alternate inclines, like 4.0 to 12.0, sometimes all the way up to 14. It depends on how I'm feeling that day. And, I really just, I'm kind of rambling because I didn't even know where I was going to go with this video. I really just wanted to kind of introduce myself, and, I'd like to get a little bit of feedback and see, where you guys are in your journey. And I'd like to know any tips you have for me. I will make some tips that maybe I have for you because I have been doing fairly well in the diet portion. Like I said, I just started going to the gym, so I'll see where that takes me. Yeah, so it was really nice to meet all of you, and I hope that someone, gets something out of this because, a lot of my journey is weight loss, but more so, I had a really big problem, so knowing that you can get through it, I hope that inspires some of you because it really was a really hard time in my life. I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about anyone. I was just a really bad person, and that's not who I was, so I wanted to change that, and this journey kind of started in the middle of that. So it was really nice to meet all of you, and I hope to see you soon.